tests. For paper-based tests, this is the answer sheet. Okay, this is where you're going to write your, let's say, your letters and your report writing and then your essay, basically. So this is going to be your task 1, okay, first page. And then at the back or at the bottom, you would see, do not write in this area. This is for the examiner. Okay, this is where they're going to rate their notes, okay, and so on. All right. And then when you're going to turn the page over, you will see these, at the bottom. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So everything at the bottom. This is your task 1. And then if you would notice, it says your examiner 1 and examiner 2. Okay, so that means there would always be 2 examiners who's going to be giving you marks based on your writing. All right. The 4 criterias, okay, here. This is what I'm going to discuss today. Starting with TA. TA stands for task achievement. CC stands for cohesion coherence. LR stands for lexical resource, and then GRA, grammatical range and accuracy. So it's for on-site. You can see it in the handout. Okay, as for online, I'll be sending it to you shortly. All right. But this is what we're going to focus today. So these 4 criteria. So at least you'll be able to know, how these examiners are giving you marks, okay, based on your writing. Because technically, a lot of people are wondering, a lot of people are asking me as well, okay, on whether their opinions, whatever they've written, if it contradicts let's say, the examiner, then of course, some people think that, their scores would be lower because, it's contradicting opinion. But the thing here is, in your actual exam, okay, they're not going to be basing your scores just on the content alone, okay? But at the same time, they're only going to focus on the 4 criterias that you see here, okay, in the answer sheet. And at the same time, they're not going to mind what your opinion would be, basically, depending on your opinion, okay? Instead, they're going to focus on these 4 criterias and at the same time, the content, if it's making sense. So it doesn't matter if you have limited ideas, doesn't matter if you have a lot of ideas, as long as you, just get an idea of how they're going to base everything here, okay, would be, Aside from that, hold on, let me just, okay. Aside from that, you would also see 6 boxes beside the 4 criterias, okay? So here's the first box. Okay, the first box would say under length, okay? So meaning, the first thing that the examiners are going to do is they're going to count every single word. Every single word, including single articles, they're going to consider it as 1 word in your writing. Not only letter writing or report writing, but also essay writing. Okay? If they determine that you did not reach the minimum word count, of course, what's going to happen, they're going to say it's under length. Okay? And at the same time, beside the box under length, okay, beside here, you will also see number of words. Okay? So meaning, after counting and then after checking if it's under length, they're going to write it down here. They're going to write, let's say, some examiners would write points, basically. Some would write deductions as well, negative something. Okay, they're just going to write it down. So this is where they're going to base everything as well. Okay, so the first thing that the examiners are going to do, count every single word. And then they're going to see if you've reached the minimum word count as well. If you reach the minimum word count, then you're fine, you're safe. They're not going to write anything here, okay? Next up is you would see penalty. Okay, so of course, if they determine that what you have written is not, did not meet the minimum word count, they're going to write the penalty here. How much, in terms of points. Okay, they're going to deduct from you. So you have to be careful as well. All right. So after that, the next box would talk about off topic. Okay, so since they've counted everything, what they're going to do, they're going to read your essay. Okay, so they're going to read your essay first. Then they're going to check, compared, and they're going to compare together with the topic that you have. So for example, this is your writing task. Your writing task, this is task 1, this is task 2. So they're going to see. In task 1, they're going to check if you have achieved, and if you answered what needs to be, what needs to be written. And at the same time, they're going to see after reading, after comparing, they're going to check if what you're writing is still on the same topic itself. Meaning you did not stray away from what you need to write. Okay. All right. So good evening. You can have this. You can have this. All right. So off topic. Okay. So make sure that whenever you're going to write your task one, task two, make sure to stay on topic. Do not stray away. Do not talk about other. Okay. Do not talk about other topics. Okay. Not related to the main topic overall. Okay. So in your letters, for example, they're asking you to write to the manager because you need to complain. You have a complaint to the manager. But sometimes I've seen a few writings before wherein they fail to address the problem, the real problem. So what happens here is they're already talking about a different problem, not with not with the topic that we have, wherein they're talking about, let's say, service. Okay, well, you're complaining about the service, not other things. So, and then this is where it's going to be. Basically, if the examiners or even me, if I think that your writing it went a little bit off topic or went off topic already, then this is where they're going to put it here as well, and then they're going to give you a penalty again, which is you do not want that, right? Okay, you would prevent writing off topic as long as you brainstorm carefully, and determine the task at hand. Okay. The next box this time that you're going to see here, okay, so it's really small, okay, but you would see it here. This is they're going to see if you have used a memorized template. Okay, if you've used a template, if you're wondering what is a template, most of the time you would see a fixed template for a whole essay already. So I strongly advise against using that because the examiners are trained to spot a template. You don't need a template. A template. I'll show you a template. We also have templates here, but I do not give them to you. Okay, basically for everyone here. Okay, because your level are higher than that. I usually give templates for people who cannot reach, let's say, band score of 5. So usually for people who are struggling to get overall band score of 5, which is it's just a low score, yes. Meaning, it would translate to their English skill, which is really low. Okay. More on the elementary level. Okay. And then if they're going to do the IELTS test, of course, they're going to have trouble. I mean, they're going to struggle as well when it comes to getting the good score. So what I do, I also teach templates. So I would know. I would also notice if, for example, your output, I would see if you have been using a template as well. So if it happens in the actual exam, if you suddenly thought of, for example, use a memorized template, or you just memorize a template.
Oh, okay, just the rule planning kind of stuff, yeah? Is that?
Yes, so I'll show you a template.
You have memorized it and you have written that.
Yes, this one. This is a template. This is the introduction, this is the 2 body paragraphs, and then conclusion.
Yeah, there are just like some gaps or
yes. You just fill out the main idea. That's it. A lot of people have been doing it, and a lot of people, I assure you, keep on getting band 5 score, band 4 even. Yeah. Why? Because it's a memorized template. As for all of you, online on-site, you don't need to memorize anything. You just need to remember the layout. Okay, you just need to remember the layout, improve your writing skills, your writing style as well. Get used to writing again or composing your essay, then you'll be fine. Okay, but for those people who, again, like what I mentioned earlier, their English level is a lot lower compared to yours, and of course, they would need help. And one good way for them to reach their score, okay, some people would be just needing, band 4, but they're still struggling to get a score like that because going back level is not good. So for all of you, you don't need to do this, right? A lot of people, especially for people who, let's say, did not do training. Okay, you did not train, so you would see a lot of information like this on Google. So if just when you're wondering, for example, this is a template, and do not use this. Okay, I would know as well. So while checking your output, if I would see, okay, if you've been using a template or not. Okay, although it's not how do you say it? It's not bad to use a template just for the some parts. Maybe some parts intrigue you, like one sentence intrigue you. Then you can add it into your writing style. It's fine. What's not good is you're going to memorize everything. Yeah, because this is not worth it. Okay, so do not strongly advise against memorizing templates.
But we can pick some sentence or
Yes. It's fine as long as it's proper, as well as it's mixing together with your writing style. Then it's fine. Okay? But if not, if it's there's a mismatch, of course, it would not be good. It would just ruin your essay as a whole, or even letter writing or report writing. Okay. All right. So there, the last one this time, the last box, we'll be talking about illegible, meaning handwriting. If your handwriting is legible or not. Okay, so what I do is depending on your needs as well. Some people are asking me advantage, disadvantage of your writing. Well, one clear advantage when it comes to your writing is you won't need to be, you don't need to improve your handwriting, for instance, just to be clear or not. Just go for computer delivered test if you think your handwriting is not good. Okay, but at the same time, if you're comfortable in writing, it's your handwriting is understandable, then you can go for your computer-based test. Sorry, paper-based tests. Okay, so there. Now these are the 6 boxes. Okay, that we're going to talk about. That you would see in your actual exam, and do not write anything here. Okay, this is for the examiners. Okay, so questions. Questions so far? No questions. Okay. So this time, hold on. Let me open my copy for online so I can share it to them as well. Okay. So, but going back to what I was saying earlier. So this is task 1. Your task 1, the first marking criteria is called TA. It's task achievement. Task 2, it will be called task response. Okay, but it's almost the same. The only difference here is the word count, some of the changes as well. Okay, but only minor. Okay, they're identical. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Okay, for now. Okay, so this time we're going to start. Hold on. That's criteria. Okay, so let me share it to online as well. Okay, for on-site group, you already have the copy. I printed the one already for all of you. Okay, so let me just share it to online. So there. Okay, now what you're going to expect, it says here, essay task criteria. Okay, so what you're going to see here is that you would have 4 different criteria, like the one that I have shown you earlier, right? So we're going to start first with your task achievement. Okay, everything related to task achievement or task response. Okay, first they're going to check your word count here. Okay, so after reading your essay, after determining the 6 boxes here, this time they're going to go to the task criteria. So they're going to read it again. Okay, so they're going to grade. They're going to give you marks. Okay, here by reading it thoroughly. So they're going to read not once, not twice, sometimes 3 times, sometimes 4 times as well. So just to check everything. Okay. So the first thing that they're going to see this time would be your task achievement. They're going to check and see the word count if you've reached the minimum. Okay. In your task 1 writing, the minimum word count here is 150 words. As for your task 2 writing, this time, the minimum would be 250 words. Okay. There would also be a maximum, actually, but I already mentioned before, maximum 308 for essay, and then for letter writing, maximum is 180. Although this is not the exact maximum, this is just your limit. This is just your guide. In order for you to avoid, repetition of ideas, and at the same time to avoid turning it into a long narrative already. But this is what they're going to check as well. They're going to check if you've exceeded the ideal maximum. Okay? And then if you exceeded the ideal maximum, then of course you're going to check it again and see if what you're writing is a long narrative already, or you're over explaining things already. Okay, so this is still going to check it. Okay. Next up is, it says here, it needs to be a complete answer or holistic answer. Okay, so what do we mean complete answer, holistic answer? Moving back to task one this time, they're going to check, they're going to go back to the topic, and then they're going to see if you have achieved, if you've mentioned a complete answer in relation to the topic itself. So if it's asking you to write this, for example, okay, describe the situation, describe the item that you lost, for instance, in your letter. If you fail to describe the item lost, then of course they're going to say you did not provide a holistic answer in your writing. Similarly, in your essays, in your essays wherein they're going to ask you a specific question. If you fail to include an answer to that specific question, then it's not a complete answer anymore. All right. So you have to be careful. This is where it's going to, or this is where they're going to base everything as well. Okay. Next up, okay, you have to identify the task if you've been using the correct layout. So if you remember, or for most of you who finished the lecture for essays already, okay, for those of you who didn't have the lecture yet, okay, I will be teaching you two different types of layouts that you just need to remember, regardless of the type of essay. Because if you're going to try and Google, let's say, I'm sure most of you already know, you would encounter a lot of different types of essays in your IELTS test. But the only thing that you need to remember here while you're training is to just remember the layout. Okay, so whatever type of essay it could be, some would say there are 10 types of essay, some would say there are a lot more, some would say there are only 5, some would say there are only 2. Okay, but there are a lot. Okay, if you're going to really differentiate them, you could encounter a positive, negative type of essay, sometimes maybe an argument type of essay wherein it's asking you to agree or disagree. So agree, disagree type of essay, opinion type, advantage, disadvantage, problem solution, and so on. The list goes on. But the thing here is you just need to remember two layouts, which is an argument type of essay and then discussion type of essay, which we will be further talking about the following days. All right. That's it. So if you use the correct layout, because the problem here is that if you're going to use a discussion type of layout for an agree or disagree, okay, essay, then it will be different. You're not going to fully support your opinion, and at the same time, it will be confusing. I've seen a lot of people, got confused. They use a different layout for this and that, and then clearly everything would be, not good anymore. Because let's just say, just an example, okay, for agree, disagree, you're going to use an agreement or argument type of essay, argument type of layout. In argument types of layouts, everything would depend, the body of your essay would depend on your opinion, whether you agree or disagree. As for your discussion type of essay, mostly it's going to just discuss two sides. So imagine, it's asking you whether you agree or disagree, even if it's asking about your opinion, and then you use a different layout, which is you discuss two sides. So, the overall content of your essay is asking you on whether you agree or disagree, but you discussed the issue that you see in the essay. And so it would not be good. It's contradicting. Okay, you're not showing, you're not supporting your answer why you agree or disagree. Instead, you just discuss two sides of the issues, and then that's it. It's not good. So they're going to check it here. Okay, this is the modern layout that they're looking for. I'm sure for all of you, okay, before you joined us, I'm sure somebody told you about the modern layout, okay, already. And the modern layout is the one that I'm teaching you, that I'm about to teach you. For those of you who haven't had the chance yet, okay, to have the lecture. Okay. All right. Now it's fine. Aside from that, okay, the last one says the sentence: make sure you have avoided repetition. Okay. So not just repetition of words, but also repetition of ideas. Okay, because it would not be good. Basically, if you've been repeating some of the ideas that are very similar, okay, it would not be good as a content in your essay anymore. Okay, why? Because the main focus of these examiners is to check how you can organize, your thoughts into writing. So how organized are they? How clear you are in writing all of these tasks, that they're asking from you. So if in your letters, for example, if you've written a good letter wherein you've covered the task and then without relying on the topic itself, it's standing alone, it stands alone and it's making sense, and that's it. Similarly, in your essays as well, even not relying on the topic itself, it's standing alone as well. It stands alone. And that's it. Okay. One good way for you to avoid repetition is by following the 4-step guide that I'm teaching you, and at the same time, first, grouping all of your ideas together during uh, brainstorming. Okay. So group all of these ideas together in order for you to avoid repetition, in order for you, to avoid, let's say, giving an opinion here, giving information here, and then when I'm going to read it, I would read the same exact information in the other paragraph. So that's not good. So you have to avoid that by grouping them together. Okay. So there. This is all under your task achievement. So do you have any questions? Clarifications? No questions? All right. Okay, so this time let's proceed to the second criteria, which is 4Cs. If you noticed earlier, it just says CC, cohesion coherence. This stands for cohesion coherence. But actually, there would be 4Cs. Okay, there would be 4Cs. So we're going to talk about first, coherence. So under your coherence, they're going to see how well, your ideas are organized, how these paragraphs are linked well at the same time, and if they're in order of importance. So this is in your essay, basically, and then sometimes in your letters as well. Okay, under your coherence, how you organize your thoughts. Did your point, they're going to ask themselves as their criteria, wherein uh, they're going to see if your point is leading to something else, or yes, it's not really just valid, but mostly if it's leading to something, yes, it's leading to somewhere, not just, just giving information out of the blue, So, for example, you're talking about smoking, the effects of smoking, and then the causes as well. And then you ended with causes. So, you ended with some solutions, for example. Then that's fine already because you started with the problem and then you ended with a solution. So it's like that. Okay, how you organize these ideas. At the same time, these paragraphs, because technically for the body paragraphs, it's talking about a different ideas, but at the same time, they're so well linked together that even without reading the introduction, even without knowing the main point of overall essay, it's talking about one main thing. Okay, so you're going to see it here. Okay? At the same time, if you, for example, started with the strongest idea, moving on to the least strongest idea. Okay, this is your essay. As for your task one writing this time, under your coherence, they're still going to check and see if everything would be in order. Meaning, if you follow the structure, it's not confusing. Wherein, if you remember, for most of you who attended yesterday's class, or task one writing already, so the main topic that I'm sharing with all of you, let's say, the informal letter, right? So it's talking about you have a friend who lives in a city abroad, and then you have decided that you would like to apply to do a course at one of the colleges in their city, right? So under your coherence, if it's well organized, then you are going to start with, the reason why you have decided to go there, at the same time leading up to asking their help, right? But if you ask help at the start, leading to this, and then, leading to another point, and then going back to asking for help, then it's not organized anymore, right? So it's not in order as well. So they're not well linked together, and it's confusing. It's the main thing. Okay, this is all under your coherence. Okay, next up is your cohesion. So under your cohesion, this time, they're going to check and see how every sentence should lead to the next. Okay, how? With the usage of your sentence connectors and also your cohesive devices. So for most of you who already received the PDF copy of the this. For those of you who don't have it yet, I'll be sending it to you as well. Okay, either WhatsApp or email. Okay, just inform me if you don't have it yet. This is called the We Know IELTS Better book. We Know IELTS Better PDF file, right? So what you can do under your cohesion, you have to use and vary different cohesive devices. Okay, so how? Instead of saying, for example, and giving examples, because the thing about, for example, is it's really common. And your goal here is to get a good score. How will you get a good score if you keep on showing, if you keep on, in your writing, you keep on using common words that you are really familiar with? The problem when it comes to cohesive devices is we are all familiar with all of these words. We just fail to use them, continuously. Although there's no problem when it comes to the usage of, for example, but the thing here is really common, where you can hear it anywhere, you can read it anywhere, and so on. Instead of using, for example, you can use other cohesive devices that you'll be able to see on the table. You can use such as, you can say namely, for instance, to name a few, in particular, all of these words here. Hold on, somebody's joining. Okay, so this is where you're going to, you can see it, this is in page 159 of We Know IELTS Better PDF file. Okay, if you have it, you can open it. If not, I'll send it to you afterwards. Okay, and at the same time, we also have another list of sentence connectors. It would be on page 176. So you would see here, as a result. Okay, although, despite, as a consequence, on the other hand, on one hand, not only that, but this, So together with the usage of these, your writing would greatly improve. Okay, rather than just using common sentences, okay, that we have been using since we're still studying. Okay, so you can check this list. Okay, aside from that, they're under your cohesion. Also, they're going to focus on repetition of words. So it's not good to repeat words if not necessary. Wherein, in your sentences, you're talking about that particular point already. Let's just say smoking. Kills, for example, smoking, the effects of smoking. So you don't need to reiterate, you don't need to, repeat the words smoking in that particular phrase, in that particular sentence, because you're already talking about it. It's unnecessary. So this is where it's going to be, cohesion. Similarly, in some cases wherein one sentence and then another sentence is talking about one main thing, why not just combine them if you can? By the usage of your cohesive devices. Okay? Instead of using and, or instead of using and explaining different ideas with the usage of your commas and the word and, you can use different cohesive devices like in addition to that. Moreover, you have to use those in order for you to, impress the examiner and to show the examiner that your range of cohesive devices are a lot. You can use a lot, not just the common ones. Okay, so this is for cohesion. Okay, you can check this later if you want. Okay, so it's in the handout that I've given you. It says there page 159 physical and 176. As for PDF, we just need to add like 2 pages, I think. Instead of 159, it will be 161, and so on. All right. So for those of you online, if you have it printed as well, it's the same. For those of you who don't have it yet, okay, and then here, how about here? For you don't have it yet. It's okay.
I don't need to have it.
You don't have it. The PDF files?
No, you
I gave you.
that. No, I
gave
gave
it.
you the device.
Oh, you didn't give it to me yet.
Yeah, I
Okay.
gave it to you.
For you?
I didn't so.
Email. Okay. So Jolie gave it to you. I already gave it to you, right? All right. So for those of you who don't have it yet, okay, and if you have data, you can send me a message. I'll send it to you through WhatsApp. Okay, because it's faster there. Okay, but for you, I'll give it to you now, later. Okay, so remind me about that. And then for those of you online this time, I'll be sending it in our group. You can just download it there. Okay, but the thing here is, you have to, once in a while, okay, I advise you to open these PDF files because you would see everything there. Everything that I'm teaching you, of course, just the overview of what I'm teaching you. Everything would be there. Everything will be included there. Okay, and then of course in here as well, I'll be explaining to you everything in detail. This is the thing. Okay, so hold on. These are the two PDF files online group. You can see it in our WhatsApp group, and then for the both of you, I'll send it to you later. Okay, so there. Now this is all under your cohesion. So any questions? All right. If you don't have any questions, let's proceed to the third C this time. The third C is talking about conciseness. So, like what I've been mentioning over and over again, make sure that they're going to see if you have avoided long narratives here in this part, okay? Or if it's too much detail wherein, you have proven your point. Sometimes what happens here is people tend to get carried away in writing, especially if, what they're writing is in their field, their specialty, for instance, So what happens here is people tend to over exaggerate. Not really exaggerate. It's more on explain too much in this part. Okay, let's just say smoking. Your point here is smoking kills or smoking is dangerous. This is a dangerous act. So you don't need to explain more. Wherein you're talking about cancer and then the effects of this and then leading to this and this and this and this and so on. It's too much already. So just keep it concise, keep it brief. And at the same time, it's very informative, wherein it's not lacking detail. Okay. So you would find the right balance once you have started to practice your writing skills. Okay. So you would see it, you would notice it. And if, for example, at the end of the day, for those of you who needs me to mark their writing, I'll be marking it later. Okay. Okay. So just send me a message for online group. If you have something that I can check that I would mark, then you send it to me. For on-site, for both of you, it's here. How about for you? You give it to me as well. I'll check it later. All right, that's it. Okay. So I would see if I think that what you're writing is too much already, and the sentence is a lot. It's turning into a long narrative already. Then I would mention it there. Okay. At the same time, still under your conciseness, they're going to see if your introduction is longer than the conclusion. Okay, this is a must. This is the modern layout that they have been looking for. Okay, for every types of essay. This is why a lot of people are also struggling when it comes to getting their required scores, because they tend to, explain a lot in their conclusion. Wherein it's not necessary, because the role of your conclusion is to just summarize everything, not to explain it again, right? Similarly, for introduction, sometimes a lot of people are spending, are writing a lot of information in their introduction for their essays, wherein it's turning into a really long, it has a lot. Yes, exactly. It has a lot of information already, which is not what these paragraphs are, yes, are meant for. Exactly. So introduction. The role of introduction is to just introduce the reader, give a preview. The role of conclusion this time is to just conclude everything and summarize everything. Okay, and at the same time, the body paragraphs are around the same length. This is not only in your letters, but also essays as well, both. And then report writing as well. Okay, for those of you who are taking training in academic. Yeah. So body paragraphs are around the same size, not, for example, how to say it? Let me rephrase, let me regroup my thoughts. Okay, body paragraphs are around the same size, wherein it's not too long for the first.
Smaller, and then the body paragraph is a little longer.
Yes, actually, technically,
So
because
you should have all the information in there.
yes, because it's the role of the body paragraph to explain
How many
everything.
paragraphs do you think would be appropriate for an essay?
Just follow the layout. As for argument type of layouts, the minimum paragraph there would be 5. Yes, meaning you have to have 3 body paragraphs to support your opinion while you agree disagree.
Intro, main body, and conclusion.
Yes.
That's like an essay. And
Yes. Yes. So 3 body paragraphs for argument type of layout. Discussion type of layout this time, minimum of two. Mostly, you're just going to discuss what the topic is asking from you. Okay, and that's it. All right. Okay, but for the body paragraphs, make sure that it's around the same size. We're in. Let's just say first paragraph, first body paragraph. You have written 100 words, and then next body paragraph, you just written like half of it. 50 words. So it's not good. It's not a good essay already because you're talking about a lot of things in the first body paragraph.
We need to balance.
Yes, so you have to find the right balance, not just the same size, just around it. We're in. Let's just say you've written 100 words, and then for the next paragraph, you're writing 80 words. Even it's still fine because it's only like one or two sentences gap. So make sure that you make them around the same size, and it will be concise. That's it. Okay. The last C this time is talking about comprehension. So meaning. First is a paper-based test. It has to be legible, wherein the examiner would be understanding your writing, and at the same time, not just to understand your writing, not just to read your writing, but also to understand the main point, okay, of your essays, of your letters, of your report writing. Okay, they're also going to check and see in this part whether you have understood the task. Okay? If it's asking you, let's just say, essays, it's asking you about a specific question. An example for that would be, let's say, they're asking you why. Okay, why we need music. Okay, why do people need music? Let's just say, and then you did not answer, you did not get the meaning, or let's say the whole point of the topic. Then you failed to answer that, and it would show here as well. Okay, together with your task achievement, they're going to check and see. Okay. So these are the 4 C's. Any questions? Right. If you don't have any questions, let's proceed to the third task criteria. It's talking about lexical resource or basically vocabulary. Okay. So in here, they're going to check and see if you have been writing common words, less common words, and uncommon words as well. Okay. They're also going to check and see if you have been including topic-related vocabulary in this part. Because the thing here is, like the problems that we're having when it comes to our cohesive devices. We're familiar with some of the uncommon, less common terms of these words. Okay, however, we do not use them. We cannot use them that much. Okay, so let's just say the word happy. Happy is really common. You can say other terms. You can say synonyms. You can say delighted. You can say elated. What else? You can say ecstatic. All of those similar words, which is the same meaning. But the problem here is we do not use them that much. Most particularly when it comes to here, in UAE, wherein it's not necessary for some people because they cannot understand it. This is the problem. But the thing here is, while you're training with us, this is what you need to focus. Most particularly when you need to get a good score in your letter writing or writing as a whole, and even speaking. Okay, so I'm not asking you to read dictionaries, all the time. All I'm saying is that we have to familiarize ourselves with these vocabulary terms that we already know. Okay, how will you know? It's either by doing reading practice, and at the same time you can check the website, IELTSblog.com. So IELTS-blog.com. Okay, and a good way for you to learn quickly when it comes to the vocabulary. Okay, not just vocabulary words, but also the structures. The complex structures. Okay, you don't need to add compound sentences in your essay, as long as you're using some complex structures, complex sentences. What do you mean complex sentences? You can say that a common sentence describing a person who likes playing sport. Example, let's just say a lot of people like to play sports like football, basketball, so on. That's very common, right? If you can change it to a complex structure wherein most people enjoy playing or doing outdoor activities such as this sport and this sport, so same meaning, but the structure is different. So of course, this one is is better. Why? Because this is not. This is. So I've used some less common words as well. The structure changes. So one good way for you, going back to what I was saying, one good way for you to try and improve on your vocabulary and structures, is to check the website ieltsblog.com. Okay, so what you're going to see here is you would see hundreds of model writings, not just in your letter writing, but also in your essays and report writing even. So check this website, check band 7, band 8, band 9 even, if you want. Just read them, you don't need to, you don't need to force yourself into writing similarly. Okay, but what you need to do is you need to take note. You have to note down some of the words, some of the expressions, some of the phrases that they have been using that you think would be easy for you to adapt to, easy for you to use. So I suggest keeping a vocabulary notebook. This is not my vocabulary notebook. I used to have one before as well. Okay, wherein you just need to note them down. Okay, and then once you have gathered a lot already, you think you've gathered a lot, you wanted to try it after a while, then this is the time for you to try and practice. Practice writing. Write one essay. If you need topics, you would find topics here. IELTS Better PDF file. Or if you finished all the topics here, then I can send you more. I have a lot of topics. All right, you can also check the topics there in ieltsblog.com, So usually my advice when it comes to improvement, quickly improving your vocabulary and structure is by brainstorming first. Okay? Yes, because the thing about here in this website is you would see all of these model writings, So if you're curious how a band 8 essay writing or letter writing would look like as well, so choose one, and then you would see the topic. You would see the topic before you start. Before you start seeing their writing, you would see the topic. So my advice is to check the topic, do brainstorming first. Gather all of your ideas, write them down somewhere. After writing them down, after brainstorming, read the model essay, model writing, and then compare. You would find similar ideas, but the way you could have explained it would be different for them as well. So, it would greatly improve your, let's say, structure because you have similar ideas, but the thing here is you explained it differently in your mind. Okay, so if you think it's good, then write it down, add it into your own writing style, then that's it. Okay. Another one is this time, as for the other book, where's my other book? The other book, which is called the ebook. Okay. Here, this is my book. This is my copy. So for online group, I have sent it already. So for the both of you, I'm going to just give it to you later. Okay, but this is it. This is my own copy. If you notice, this is really old already. So this is the cover would just say listening. Okay, but actually it's just more listening tips, aside from the tips that I've been sharing with you. Okay. After that, you would see speaking. Okay. You would see speaking, and then you would see a lot of speaking practice tests, speaking topics, and so on. The best part here that I want to show you is somewhere around page 37, I think, 35, 36, 37, wherein you need to deal with, an activity called topic-specific vocabulary, okay? Because the thing about your vocabulary in your essay is you don't need really, let's say, difficult words to include. You don't need to check the dictionary, because you don't have time for that. If you want to, then of course it would take you a long time to add it into your system, okay? And it would take a very long time. But what you need here is, a more efficient way to improve your vocabulary. So one good way is by finishing all of these activities. So you would find a total of 19 to 20 topics, 21, I think, 19 to 21 topics here. It starts with education, and the thing about here is it's just easy. You just need to deal with 3 different tasks. Okay, task 1 would just be multiple choice. Most of the time you will see there's an answer already. Multiple choice. Task 2 would be just to fill in the gaps, fill in the blanks. You just need to choose from the words here in the in the pool. And then task three, the best part here is a short essay. Okay, short essay wherein you just need to include some of the words that you've learned that you've encountered here, here, right? If you're really focused when it comes to improving your vocabulary or range of vocabulary, okay, I suggest doing this at least one per day, one topic per day. It starts with education, followed by media, and then work, and then money and finance, and so on. What's great about this not website, sorry. What's great about this activity book is, whatever topic you would get in your list, in your writing, in your speaking, you can just grab some of the words here and then just add it. Let's just say you got, how do you say it? You got a topic related to education. Okay, so education. And then you remember some of the words here like literacy, numeracy. Then if you can include that in your speech, in your speaking, and your writing as well, then it's a big improvement already. Instead of explaining, like a sentence, children at the young age learn maths and English or language at school. Okay, change math or change numbers into numeracy skills, literacy skills, and so on. What else? You can say most people go back. Most people when they get old go back to college and finish their course, their education. If you can go back to college to you can say to continue to continue and finish higher education, further education, all of those words. You will be able to see it here, and it will greatly help you when it comes to improving your vocabulary. Okay, so my advice: after doing one topic per day, you can check the answer. The answer is here in this book as well. At the same time, if you have it printed, you have to write. You have to have a vocabulary record sheet, or like what I mentioned earlier, a notebook, vocabulary notebook. In this notebook or this sheet, what you need to do is you need to write whatever new word or new expression or new phrase that you've learned. Even, for example, while watching, while you're watching TV or you're watching your favorite series, you've encountered a particular word, you got curious, you searched it up, and then all of a sudden, you want to use it. So you have to write it down here or in a notebook. So write down the word or expression. In the middle, look up the definition. You can use Google, you can use dictionaries, it's fine. As long as you write it down. And then the last one, you have to write and make a sample sentence. Okay. So this is it. Basically, you just need to have dedication when it comes to this in order for you to get a good score, okay, in your test. All right. So that's it. Okay. So, but other than that, for the website, you can also check our website as well. Not only in our Facebook page, but also our website. We have a lot of model essays, and some of the tips that I've been sharing with you. You can check it there as well. Right. That's it. So this is for your range of vocabulary. I've given you two to three. How do you say it? 2 to 3 activities, suggestions that you can do in order for you to improve quickly in your vocabulary. So, any questions? No questions. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's continue with the last criteria this time. Of course, they're still going to bother with your grammar. Okay, they're going to check your grammatical range and accuracy, how accurate you are in using the correct punctuations, parts of the speech. Basically, they're going to check and see everything here. Okay, so if they're going to see if everything is in order. Now, if you think you're struggling in this part, what you can do, you can just inform me. You can inform me. I'll be giving you some activities related to your problem. Okay, but first we need to check. I would need to check your writing first to determine whatever you need. Just in case if you're struggling here, or if you think you need help in this particular area, what you can do, just inform me as well. I'll be sending you a lot of activities that you can do at home, so at least you'll be able to try and improve. Okay, I'll be getting these activities from some books. I'll be getting most of them from Headway Books. I have them all. If you have them as well, you can try and do those activities there. At the same time, you can also check the website that is written here. That's written in your handouts for on site, and then online you will be able to see it here. It's called EnglishGrammarSecrets.com. Okay, so this website is a wonderful website. Okay, wherein it's very informative. Wherein you will be able to see everything related to grammar. All of the parts of the speech. That's it. Okay, so everything you will be able to see. Just click on one particular problem that you think you're having trouble with, or just go over them all. This website is free. Although, since it's free, of course, you need to deal with some of the annoying ads as well. But it's free, so it's fine. All right. So what you're going to expect here is just click on one particular topic. Let's just say you're struggling when it comes to tenses. So how to use a progressive or continuous tense. So you click one, you would find information related to that. Okay, they're going to explain it to you as well. At the same time, give you example sentences. You would also see a video showing you how to use it, when to use it, even. And the best part here is there would be an activity at the bottom, wherein you would find a total of 10, sometimes 10 questions. Sometimes 15 questions as well. Okay. And if you manage to get a score of 10 out of 10 or 20 out of 20 or 15 out of 15, then that means, you don't have any problem with that particular tense. That's it. Okay. But if you're really struggling when it comes to this part and, your score, you're not achieving your desired score with your current level of English, then I suggest maybe you can try and pause or freeze your course, IELTS course for now, if you really need it. If you really need it, you can pause your course for now, and then I'll suggest you to opt and do a grammar course first before you continue. Okay, that way we'll be able to see and reach your target score. But this is just the last plan or plan C. That's it. So plan A first, try your best to improve on this area. Okay, by doing the activities, and at the same time checking the websites. That's it. Okay, last resort, grammar course if you really need it. That's it. Okay, so this is the overall marking criteria. Now, what we're going to do for online is I will be sending you a few activities. Okay, I'll be sending you a few activities. You can do them all if you want to. Okay, but for people who are doing general, it will be stated there in the activity. For people who are doing academic as well, it would say it there. So for example, for most of you who want to try both, you can do it. Okay. After that, inform me. I'll be sending the answer sheet, answer keys. Okay, for you. And then as for on-site, this time same. I'll be giving you a different activity this time. Okay, I'll be printing one for the four of you. Okay. So before I end our online session, for online people, do you have any questions? Hello? Are you there? No questions?
No questions.
All right. Okay, Miss Labilla, thank you. All right. But anyway, okay, if you have any questions, just send me a message then. It's fine. All right. So anyway, thank you very much for online group. I'll be seeing you next session. Okay, so I will end our online class now.